Sunday. Welcome back. We'll wait for some people to jump on. We're a little bit early today.
Does that look right?
Mm-hmm. That does look right.
Okay. Who's on? We got somebody on?
There, I think it's working.
All right, excellent.
So if you're watching today, let us know how many donkeys do you have? How's that?
Yes.
Yeah.
How long have you had donkeys?
There, okay. So I know it's working now. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so if you're new here, I'm MaryJo, and this is my husband, Dan, and we are here for Stoic Sunday to talk about donkeys and training, whether you have a donkey, a wild burro, and we want to do this being fair and thoughtful and practical, right? So if you've been here a while, thanks for tuning in and stopping by to hang out with us. And if you're new, welcome to the community. We're glad that you're with us. So tonight we're going to talk about something that doesn't get enough attention in training, and that is when not to ask for more from your donkey, even when things are going well. And this happens, like we guys, if you don't know what we're up to here, we are gentling wild donkeys, plus we have our own donkeys.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 3 that have graduated recently. Some of those, we still have 7 in the gentling pens. Now we're going to put more in. But of those 7 that are left, many of them started at the same time. And some we just barely got first touch on while we have 3 that have graduated.
Yeah, just this week. And we've been working with them for 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It came before the holidays.
Yeah, the first batch came in November, and then the second batch came a couple weeks before Christmas.
Yeah.
But then there was a little bit of downtime with the holidays and
We did get a little bit of weather.
yep, weather.
We haven't had a lot of that here in Montana this year. We're really blessed about that. And summer is just his first touch this week.
And so this happens, and it happens to everybody. Like when to push for more. Hey there.
Who do we got?
We have Fred's mom.
Hey, Fred's mom.
Glad that you're here with us. So it can be hard to know sometimes when you should be asking for more and when asking for more is actually going to like make you go backwards. And we've all been there. Like sometimes we ask for more and we're like, oh boy, that did not work. And other times you ask for more and it's like, oh, I'm so glad I did. That worked well.
Yeah.
So now we've been having incredible weather here. And so it makes it easy to go do more, right? Do more with the donkeys.
We got some sunburn this week. It was in the low 70s for a couple of days this week.
Yeah.
In the 60s for the rest of them. It's normally 25 below with a lot of snow and, very limited time outside. But we've taken advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. So we're pretty lucky. And then just this weekend, we were asked if we wanted to go work cattle with a friend of ours. And, that's just another situation where we could go work the cattle, but Wild Donkey is not conditioned to be able to do that right now.
Right. And we have a lot of donkeys that people want, and we got to get them ready.
So with the idea of asking for more, that would have been too much for to be going through all of the mountains for an undetermined amount of time.
Right.
And then to ask her to be able to keep up and do everything that we would need her to do to go work cattle, right? So that's another situation of when asking for more would have set us backwards.
Right.
And with donkeys, when you do set them backwards, it can take 2, 3, 10 times longer to get them to work past something if they become upset that you.
Yeah, you actually make a lot more work for yourself. You may, on the heels of a string of successes, make that conscious decision to go a little further, whether you're gentling or riding or moving cattle or whatever. Mm-hmm. When they shut down, it'll set you backwards a little bit.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
There's a fine line in not asking for more. I'll talk about working with Elliot today.
His name is not Elliot.
Excuse me, Elton.
Elton John.
You can scramble the words and spit and make the same name, right?
Okay, so Fred's mom's asking have a recommendation for setting a timeline for working with the donkeys. Now, when I'm working with a wild, I literally set a timer, and I don't always follow it, but I set a timer for 15 minutes. I work with them for the 15 minutes, and then they get a break. Now, let's say I'm working with wild donkey Ah, I could go for hours and hours working with her, but remember, you want to be asking them questions for about 25% of the time. So if you're working with an hour, you want to let them have breaks. Let's say you're riding, you're not going to be able to not ask them a question. Like, when I first think about it, I think, well, how am I going to not ask them a question while I'm riding? So when you're riding, like maybe you're asking them to move all four legs individually, and then you let them ride and you're not asking them any questions, but they're still being asked to walk, right? So now it's fun and they're walking and they feel nice and relaxed and calm. So like maybe you let them walk for 15 minutes and then you ask them to move all four legs or to do an obstacle. I know you're starting to do yours under saddle. So break it up with a calm time where they're allowed just to go be themselves, walking on the trail where you're still steering them a little bit, but not asking harder questions.
Yep.
A quarter of the time. Kevin is watching. Kevin
Kevin,
is
how
the one
you
that
doing?
I was telling you about that he had messaged about looking for a mammoth donkey.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're patient, we'll have them. It's going to be. They haven't even bred yet, so.
Oh, I didn't even tell him about that. So
Yeah, we do have several mammoth jennies who are about to be bred by a wonderful, wonderful mammoth jack.
yes.
So.
But those will not be trained donkeys for a very long time because we're gonna have to wait. They're pregnant for 12 to 14 months. Then we gotta wait for them to be weaned, and then they gotta grow enough to be broke.
Yeah. I mean, the possibility of weanlings being available in a year and in 18 months, 20 months, but yeah, it would be 5 years from now for have a trained or mammoth donkey.
So the reason we say 5
Yeah.
years is so typically you want to start a donkey under saddle when they're between ages 4 and 5.
Yeah, because the mammoth donkeys, they grow really slow. Even
They mature
yeah,
mentally.
they mature slower, but they get really smart. And when not to ask for more. I want to talk about my week with Elton.
Elton John.
I've called this poor kid Elton Elmore Elwood. Yeah, I keep messing up his name.
And he's the one who named him Elton John. So
Well, I know, but he's not like Elton John. He's different. He's kind of a man's donkey. He's a good kid. He's very much aloof, suspicious. But we've had MaryJo broke the ice last weekend, teaching him games. The head game where she puts her hand out and say head, and he eventually learned. He comes up and bunks her hand. I took it from there to work on both sides of him. That was a big deal. You know, he was cool. He's down. He's up for anything on his right side. But you couldn't even, I don't know how many miles I put on trying to get to his left side without him blocking me. Anyways, we got there, and today was halter day, and it probably took me 2 to 3 hours with that halter, but I was not continuously working with him for 2 hours. I'd give him lots of breaks. I didn't have a timer set.
because he's type B.
Yeah. And the purpose of that 15-minute timer, let me talk about this. It's very easy. If you're very, very goal-oriented and you don't have a timer to rein you in, it's just human nature to keep going and going and going and going. And some donkeys can handle that. But as a rule of thumb, we got a message here. As a rule of thumb, assume your donkey can only handle 15 minutes of new stuff. What do we got there?
So this is Fred's mom, Tito, or Tito, I'm not good at pronouncing words, used to block me from switching sides, and weirdly, he was more accepting of it when I went around his butt. And that's really common, and that's what you were dealing with Elton John. And then I was doing it with Red.
Yes, and it's the same thing but different. With the wilds, we're not brave enough or reckless enough to go around them, to come around the other side. We do something similar. I'll walk past their head to get to the other side, and I'll make a big old U-turn and kind of come up, quartering their hind corner, and come up alongside of them. So it'd be a lot like I just walked around them and came up. So we're now facing in the same direction. That's how we finally got to him just to finally relax a little bit when I was on that left side. And now he's just, it's like something happened. So we introduced the halter today. And I had to be very patient because at first it was like, here's the halter. He's like, no way, man, I'm going to go in the corner and pout.
They really do. They'll
Yeah.
go face away from you
It's like, what?
with their head down.
So I had spent, let's just say an imaginary 15 minutes, it might have been 37, just to get him to come and take oats from one hand while I'm holding the halter in the other hand 4 feet away. Then eventually we'd get closer and closer and closer. And then I'd say nose and encourage him to sniff it. Then he got curious about the halter. Then we had some other folks here. We had some guests here today. So I would distract myself with other things going on the farm. And I'd come back 15 minutes later, 37 minutes later, 9 minutes. I don't know. I didn't use a timer. But, to make sure he had time to process that. And then what was cool about this guy, he's also kind of self-policing. He will have enough and he will walk away and then come right back to you.
When you wait for them to come back to you, you know that they're open to more.
Yep.
Right? If they stayed over in the corner, if you tried to push it more, you're going to cause them to shut down.
So I was trying to make sure I would respect it when he's had enough. And a couple of times he did walk over to the panel and just like stand there like a statue. So back to the original question. That 15 minutes is really a good guideline. It really is.
But that's not the original. What we're talking about is when it's time to push for more and when it's time to back off.
Okay. Yep.
That's like the theme today.
The theme. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't Fred's mom ask about the timeline?
Yeah, but we already answered that.
Oh, okay. Well, I answered it some more
Okay.
for free.
So how do you know if you can ask for more or if you need to like back off, right? So what kind of things did you notice before he went to pout?
He would lock up. He would no longer blink. The ears wouldn't move.
Chewing. So we use pay, guys. It's treats.
He'd stop
pay.
chewing. He would send very clear signals that he's got mental overload and he's got to process this stuff. So he was very kind to me in signaling that he's overwhelmed.
But the thing is, guys, we do a lot. If I were to show you all of our neck tags from the wilds, we do a lot of wild donkeys, right? So when we first started doing this, we didn't notice all these signs. Like when I was working, you guys know Richard, who I've been sitting with for eons. And Richard, here's what I was noticing. So many of them get a parrot lip. So their top lip sticks out like a parrot's beak. Richard, he gets a very slight parrot lip. And this is what I noticed about Richard. His jaw gets so tight. It looks like maybe his teeth might implode because he's clenching his jaw so tight.
But he doesn't do the big hawk lip like Red or Eagle. Remember Eagle? He had that.
Eagle was like...
He looked like an aardvark or something. That lip would stick out about this much further than his bottom lip.
He actually, I wondered if he was missing part of his lip.
Maybe there was an
so
injury
dramatic.
or something, yeah. But Red, he's got quite the upper lip as well.
He does. But they don't all do it the same. So you really have to pay attention to your animal. And when we first started doing this, I hardly paid attention to their lips at all. But their lips tell you a lot. And then on top of that, you have to pay attention to each animal. So with Richard, we had a giant breakthrough. So, you know, guys, a lot of you are familiar with the movie 50 First Dates. Well, I feel like Richard is 100 First Dates because I'll go work with him and he'll be eating with the feed pan between my feet. And then the next day, he won't even come 5 feet from me. Like, it's like, you were here yesterday. What's the big deal? Now, I have sat with him for so many hours. I thought, you know what, I'm going to change it up. And the reason, we're going to talk more about that later on, but I changed it up and I got a long stick, and then that's where you use it to kind of make a silhouette of him. And then guess what? I was able to pet him. And Kevin has a question. We will totally answer that. So I'm using that as a silhouette, advancing, walk away when I see a sign of relaxation, and I am now petting him. And what was really cool is I was able to walk up to him and he stayed in the middle of the barn when I approached. That's really rare that happens. Normally they'll go up against a wall or fence line, and that's where you have to approach them. So sometimes I think we're gonna need to name some donkeys in the future, like underwriter,
Mm-hmm.
because they just always want more information. I don't know if I trust you. I need more
Yeah.
information.
An otter. Why are you doing it this way?
Yeah. All right. So Kevin says, I know exactly what you're talking about. The top lip extends further for sure with some of them. Yes, absolutely.
And on some of it, it's almost comical how exaggerated it is. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're talking about Richard. He just doesn't do much. He just bites his teeth down. But
Yeah, his is just so slight of a parrot lip, but he does look like his teeth are gonna implode when he gets really nervous.
yeah, it's pretty funny stuff.
Now, after I touched him the first time, oh my gosh, guys, I did not count, but he blew constantly over and over and over again,
For a very long time.
like a half hour.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's a sign that he's like letting down. So you got the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. And the way I remember it is paralyzed for P. When they're in the parasympathetic nervous system, if you think of a horse, if they're paralyzed, they're not moving. And the sympathetic, they're going to run to the next county and then look back to see if there's really danger there, right? Mm-hmm. So when they go to the parasympathetic nervous system, that's when they are actually in the learning state of mind and they're starting to relax and feel good around you. That's what we want. We want our donkeys to feel good around us. We want them to get coping skills so they can cope with life, right? Cope with it.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you know when it's time to ask for more, like, or back off? So what I'm watching for is, are they leaning away? Do they look like they're ready to go? Because that's a big deal if they're going to go. So for Richard, when I was approaching him, he wasn't backing away. Maybe if they're leaning, I'm still going to do something. But if they're going to go, I'm going to try not to approach them that much before they go. I was working with 35 today, and he's had time off while I've been sitting with Richard. And I went in with a long brush. So the long brush is a stick with a brush on the end of it. And I was going to start brushing him with it. And I decided not to because he wasn't very comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So how do we decide, right? It's always going to be having to do with what can they handle without leaving.
Right?
We're doing all of this at liberty so they can choose to go.
Mm-hmm. You bet.
Okay, let me look at my notes. You tell me the story while I look at my
Really?
notes.
Okay. Yeah. With Elton, I would let him go. When we got to where he's rubbing the halter's at his neck, and early on, I like to just get the halter and dangle it on the opposite side, on the right side, and let it touch their neck and bring it back. Pay him for being brave, and bring it back over. And do this several times. Don't do it just once. Do it 3, 4, 5 times. And then eventually you can start lowering it down, so where you can see it halt the water rope in the halter underneath their neck. You can see it before you can ever reach underneath there to grab that. Make sure you spend quite a bit of time rubbing the chest at the base of their neck, because your hand is going to have to go underneath there. With Elton, the first several times that I let it go down over his neck, I wasn't quick enough. He's like, I gotta go. So I would do nothing and just let him go. And I'm like, well, I broke my donkey. I better go do something else. So I'd go talk to MaryJo, who was watching all my guests work with a different donkey. And next thing you know, he's just creeping up. I'm ready to go. He was telling me, I'll do it again. And what a little trooper, he'd 2, 3 times, and then he didn't go. And then when it was on that side, I would swing it a little bit and let it swing underneath his neck, because that way I don't have to reach as far. Couple of times of doing that. Then when I went to reach for it, he had to go. And I just didn't do nothing. Just let him go. He didn't go very far, 3 feet. Give him a break, and then every time I did that and he would go, he would come back quicker and quicker every time, to the point where he just didn't give a hoot. Same thing when I introducing the halter to his nose. He probably had to go walk it off 10 times today.
Now, and guys, that's where good training decisions they really matter. Just because something is going well doesn't mean it's time to put on that halter all the way, right? Because we have to break everything down into little steps. Because when we get to that point of reaching around their whole neck,
a predator who they don't trust is reaching around their neck. Yeah. I can now. So at the end, I haltered him a bazillion times. He's now officially you can halter him. It was just good old fashioned, however you want to halter him. He's like, sure, whatever.
Now, guys, sometimes the best decision you can make for the donkey is to stop, and it could be for the day. It could be for a break, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when everything is looking good on the outside, donkeys are so stoic that they could be imploding like Richard, who looks like his teeth might explode.
Just think how much when Richard blew every 45 seconds for a half hour when you had that big breakthrough day with him. How much was he holding in? You couldn't see it on the outside other than the tight mouth.
Right.
But that blowing every 45 seconds for a half hour, that was a big event for him, and it was hard to see.
Now, if I had kept going and didn't give him that break, he wouldn't have been able to come down and learn the coping skills. Because I had it's a long stick. It's like a lunge line or lunge whip.
Buggy stick or
whip or
something.
whatever.
It's like 7 feet long.
So I was rubbing his entire back, and he had his neck tag was over his ear. So I was rubbing between his ears, and I was rubbing around his face and his neck. So I had touched him in ways I hadn't touched him at all. So that was a lot. That was a big ask. And then I got the neck tag off from his ear, so it's back where it's supposed to be. But just because that they're froze up or they're not moving, that doesn't mean they're ready for us to do the next step.
Right. Yep.
Taking a break is really what's going to help. And then what we notice a ton is when we give them a break, whether it is for 15 minutes or for the day, and then we come back, we often are able to go further than we could the last session.
Yeah, and if you time your ending right, you don't have to go backwards as far. If you end if it's a sloppy ending or you're going too far, you might have to do a lot of review.
Yes.
To get to where you left off at.
And if it happens to you guys, don't sweat it, because it happens to us, even though we've trained, 40 or 50 wild donkeys now just in the last 3 years. So not even 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But I think it's so important with donkeys to be watching for this, because they're so stoic. So it can be really hard to really know what they're thinking.
Yeah. It's a good thing you never have to play poker against a donkey. They can really, man, stoic is such a wonderful word. They can really put on a poker face.
So one of the biggest things I'm watching for, and this came a lot with Red. So I went in with Red. Dan had been working with Red. And what I was watching for is I wanted to pet him on his right side, because there hadn't been anything done on his right side. Remember, if they've seen it on their right but not their left doesn't even know it exists. Okay? So I'm working on his right side, and I started off with the long lunge whip, whatever thing it is, and he was showing curiosity. So when I know that they're okay and ready for the next step, he's looking at me, he's leaning towards me, he's not leaving at all or as often. And then he would take a step towards me. Like, eventually they're going to follow you around, guys. But when I started doing nose with them, so I put my hand out, nothing in my hand. I put my hand out, say nose, he touches it, now I give him pay. Well, then I was like, just pretend petting him. I would say, Deet, give him pay. And he wasn't moving, and he was coming closer, and he wasn't leaning, he wasn't tense. And the next thing you know, I'm petting him on his right side.
That pretend pet has a lot of power. That is a big training ad. Literally, like, pretend you're petting them, even if you're 5 feet away. It's something about that arm movement.
It's scary. You move up your arm, and they're like, oh my gosh.
So if you can remove the fear of a moving arm before they ever feel your hand on their body, that'll help reduce the perceived trauma.
Otherwise, what you have going is trigger stacking, where you're in the pen with them. That's scary. You moved your arm, and your feet moved, and now you're gonna touch me, and I can only like a half a rabbit is all I can handle before I implode or explode.
So for those of you who are gentling wilds, don't underestimate the power of the pet. That's seen it a lot.
So what we're trying to create is curiosity, connection, and then cooperation, right? So sometimes we're trying just to get curiosity first. That's what I was trying to get with Richard. However, Richard says he's not that curious. So I'm kind of moving past that. I'm working on connection, being able to touch him. But he's turning towards me more often.
Right?
And we're just going to keep building on it. And then we're going to have to build connection and cooperation. No. Curiosity and connection at the same time.
Ever wonder whether someone that's stoic, like Richard, is he really very curious, but he's just going to camouflage that? I mean, is there a curious donkey hidden in there that'll eventually come out?
I do think, yeah. And I don't know to this day if he is really scared or if he just doesn't care. But like today, when the guests were here who are going to be adopting him and Red, he was trembling. I was watching his necktie kind of jiggle,
Really?
not dramatically, but a little bit. Yeah.
So, okay.
So I do think he's still scared. But so for him, that curiosity that we have created, the very limited amount, and then a connection that we've created so far, it's very fragile.
Very.
And that matters. Cooperation looks like compliance, but not confident. That's a pause point, right? So if they're not confident with what they're doing, if they're leaning away or trembling, pause. Because when that starts to weaken, that's where it's really going to hold up your progress.
Yeah.
You're going to go backwards. So we're seeing great improvement with Red, with Richard, Elton John. 35's gone backwards. We still got to name him. I don't know what we're going to name him.
Let's name him 35.
Well, that just doesn't seem like a good enough name. I don't know. What do you guys think? Call them their numbers or give them a name. Let's see. I'm going over my notes because some of this I've gone out of order. And so remember, waiting, it's not a setback. It's just part of it. We need to get that curiosity, and waiting is a huge part. Choosing to ask for more choosing not to ask for more, it's not a lack of confidence. It's just really good leadership when you can recognize that.
Less is more.
And it's how we're going to protect the trust that we've gained so far. Now, if you're watching this and you're feeling unsure about whether you're asking for too much or not enough, you're not alone, okay? These are decisions that separate just checking a box, like I can put a halter on, versus like real training, real connection.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, this is kind of a little bit of an announcement too. We're going to start members only go lives. We're going to do them starting just once a month. Okay. And right now I'm on the Burro trainer tier. I'm releasing one members only video per month. And now we'll do the members only live right now once per month. And in that, we're going to talk more about how we decide what to do.
Yes. Yep.
So we'll do our first members only go live this coming Wednesday.
Yeah.
6
Go
p.m.
on. Yeah, 6 p.m. And for those of you who think you might want to jump on that, write down some notes. Have some notes with you.
Totally.
In regards to, repeat the topic again.
Oh, I didn't make the topic, but it's always going to be about the decision, how to decide.
Yes, the decision, yes. But get your questions written down. We'd love to see you on Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
So we're going to be talking more about like how we make the decision, what we're watching for, and how we think through the moments in real time, right? Like one that I thought of today was when I am approaching, and I have to back up the camera to do this, which it'll get all shaky. But when I'm approaching and I'm stepping closer, I can't shift my weight and step at the same time.
That's a big one to talk about. Yes. Yeah, let's hit on that real hard on Wednesday. That's a big deal. It's funny you said in real time. I'm like, that's for me the joy of gentling these wild donkeys is there is real time and then there's donkey time. And they don't always mix together real well.
No, quite often
So
they
that's,
don't.
as humans, our challenge is to try and accept donkey time. That's what made me laugh. I'm like, in real time, we're talking about donkeys.
And then there's MaryJo time that I set a timer and I ignore it. So now we have different tiers for memberships, guys, like the Burro Buddy. Thank you to all you members out there that are Burro Buddies. You guys are supporting what we're doing, helping us bring more information to everybody to help their donkeys be successful. And then the Burro Trainer tier, that's where we're going to slow things down and really talk about how we decide what to do. So now, if that sounds helpful to you guys, you're always welcome to join. There's no pressure. We just want to make sure people know about it because this is new thing that we're going to be doing. Dan's
Okay.
checking comments.
Yeah,
'cause
there's
I always
someone
miss
asked a
some.
question about which Jack are we breeding the mammoths to? He's the son of Texas Scooter.
Yep, his name is Chance.
Chance. He's I haven't measured him, but he's a solid 14 too. Just a sweetheart. He's a big teddy bear donkey.
So, like when you're breeding with a Jack, you want to make sure that the Jack you're breeding with has a really good solid line
Yeah.
because you want the babes to have good solid lines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
We always miss questions that we notice when we're all done.
Someone named their. Oh, this is Fred's mom, Tito. Tito, that's a vodka, I think. Tito's. Okay.
Any other questions that
Nope.
we missed?
Nope. Nope. We got it nailed.
Awesome sauce. Now, if you guys found tonight's, yep, it's a vodka, she says. If you found tonight's conversation helpful, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're not. Like 50% of people who watch are not even subscribed. So we just love it if you subscribe, and it helps more people who have donkeys or are interested in it find us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
We want donkeys to be taken care of.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, if you guys have more questions, we're totally here for you. And then remember, you are welcome. Totally welcome. Good training is not about how much you ask. It's about knowing when not to, and remember to quit on a good note.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. And you know what? I'll go on a quick little tangent here before we check out. Quitting on a good note. And she's very regimented with this. It can be getting dark out, and it's sleeting, it's cold. We're both cold. We gotta go take dinner out of the oven. I mean, we're out of time to work.
Mm-hmm.
But the last 3 minutes of the session didn't go good for MaryJo. She won't leave that pen until she can get some sort of a yes from whether it's working with feet. You get something, not a yes to this exact question, but some sort of a yes before she leaves the pen. And I'm pacing. I'm like, well, it's gonna be dark out here. I don't have flashlights with me. But it really is important. So tomorrow when we go to work that same donkey, we're not having to backtrack a week.
I think I've even stayed down there one time with Joe because he was worked up. Our son stood up quick and scared him, and it was dark out. I think I
Right.
stayed down there for an hour with him to help him
Yeah,
relax.
somebody blinked too loud or something. Sure.
So even shifting back on an easy answer for them. Yes, absolutely. So
Yes,
let's say
exactly.
you're
Yes.
working with their feet and they get kicky. So if I was picking up their feet and they got kicky, but now I'm out of time, I could go to the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just have them be relaxed with that, and then I'm quitting on a good note. Or maybe I hold my hand there and ask them to pick up their feet, and then I release because they shifted their weight.
Yep.
And those things I would totally be happy to quit on.
Yes.
When I sat with Joe for an hour, he was worked up, and I don't even think we were haltering him yet. I think
No.
we were working on it. So I just had to sit with them for him to relax. Now, when I'm sitting with, Richard, because he's so darn stoic, like he puts stoic to a whole nother level.
He is next level stoic. Yep.
With him, I'm just like, if you'll eat in my presence, I'm counting that.
Yeah.
And even if it's 10 feet away, like you're eating in my presence, okay, you're relaxed enough to do that. Even though you were eating with the feed pan between my feet 5 minutes ago, we're going to take that.
Yep.
And I do notice it having a huge effect on them.
Mm-hmm. Big time. It certainly does. You bet.
I'm pretty excited where all the wilds are at now. Like, let's see, 30, 35, 12, 72, and Elton are all taking halters now.
Yeah.
And then Tony, Red, and Richard were petting. Well, no, I haven't pet Tony since the first time. I've petted him once, but he got kind of nervous. So I
On his
decided
face or on his withers?
on his withers.
Yeah. So he might actually be, as far as first touches, he might be behind.
Richard's been taking all the time.
Richard's taken 99.999% of her time. Yeah. I am known to be a patient person. Richard was just a bit much for me. number one, we got to get off the thing here real quick because of dinner. But before we go, she wanted me to go down and start sitting with Richard. So I got everybody separated. And I'm like, well, I know he's hungry. So I put his snacks in a pan in the middle of the 24-foot pen. And I went and sat down, and I figured I'd wait for him to come get those snacks from the middle of the pen. And then the plan is for him to eat it all, and I go move the pan a little closer. He just went to the opposite corner and just faced away from me. I made it 54 minutes.
I think he would rather starve than do
Yeah.
that.
And so the yes I was looking for was eat 12 feet from me. And I went up to the house, and I was crying and fussing. MaryJo, I don't know, maybe he got hit by lightning, something's wrong with that donkey. And she's like, well, you're just going to have to move it closer to him. You might have to move it 23 feet away in a 24-foot pan in order to get that yes. And so that was a learning moment for me.
Totes.
Yeah.
And today, the people that are going to be adopting Richard and Red came over, and so the guy was sitting with Richard because I feel like his trust level is very fragile. Well, I haven't gotten Richard to eat with the feed pan sitting on my lap yet, but he got Richard to eat with the feed pan. He was holding it down, like he's sitting in a chair and then holding it. So it was off the ground, and Richard ate from the feed pan.
Big day. Big day.
And it seems so small, but it's so big.
Yes. It might seem microscopic small, but sometimes that step, something that small, is a huge step.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect most of the days this week will be vast forward progress with Richard.
so.
Yeah, Richard and Red and Elton.
Elton John. And so like that's where sometimes we have to get out of our own little box of how we think should be, how we think things should be.
Absolutely. Yes.
You wanted him to eat 12 feet. I want him to go from eating with the feed pan between my feet to eating on my lap. And he's like, no.
Yep. All right. So Wednesday,
if you guys are signed up for the Burro Trainer tier, we'll see you on Wednesday, and we'll talk more in depth about how to make decisions. Thank you all for watching and for your
bet.
memberships and your support.
Absolutely.
We love you guys.
And on Wednesday, we won't be addressing the masses. It's just going to be a handful of you.
Yeah.
So we ask a lot of questions. We can spend as much time as you have to get your questions answered.
Heck yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.
See ya.